My earliest memory is riding in my grandfather's boat, arm over the side, hand in the spray. I've spent much of the rest of my life chasing this feeling. All of that has led to this. The Wooden Boat Experience. Hey, welcome to the Wooden Boat Experience. I'm back here in the boat shed after a little traveling around this morning and visiting a couple places. I went over and I saw Tom Neely's boat shop where Aziel and Tom are working on the Hutchinson. We've seen some stuff about them before. I also stopped and saw Mike Mahoney, and he's working on Rob Roy and another small boat, which is pretty cool. And Mike, thank you so much, Mike. He was nice enough to get me these tips, which fit the screws in the Chris Craft, the Reed and Print screws. So I'm looking forward to using those. And I also stopped at the hardware, got a nice ratcheting handle for it. So this is gonna be great. When I start pulling the screws out of the Chris Craft again, I have the proper tips. So the next few videos, today is Thursday, I'll be editing in a few minutes when I head back into the house. I'm going to have this week's video, which we're going to meet and introduce you to the Finger Lakes Boating Museum, which is in the southern tier of New York on a Finger Lakes lake called Keuka Lake. And they are in Hammondsport, New York. So we're going to see their collection. Next week, we'll be back to a regular video about the Chris Craft, and we'll see everything that's going on with that. And also you'll see the updates with Tom and Aziel and with Mike on Rob Roy. The week after, we're going to see the Finger Lakes Boating Museum project called Pat 2, which is a tour boat that in the 1920s was built in the North Country on the river, and it was a tour boat up here for years. In the 1950s, it moved down to central New York, and it went to Skaneateles Lake, which is a finger lake, and it was the mail boat there and then a tour boat there. And then it fell into disrepair, and the Finger Lakes Boating Museum ended up with this boat, and they are now restoring it down in the southern tier, and it's going to be a tour boat on Keuka Lake and possibly move around because they have a trailer for it too. So it may go other places. So it's a action-packed time for the next 3 videos. So I'm hoping you guys will stick with me and watch each week. And please check out my Patreon page. And on Patreon, you can help the Wooden Boat Experience in little ways. Sometimes it's a little amount. You can watch videos that you can't see on YouTube without being a patron. So check that out if you could. And also check out glassgoat.com where we have our store and we have Wooden Boat Experience stuff like this hat. We got some other hats coming soon. We have t-shirts, some different items on there that have to do with boating. So anything you can do to support us would be awesome and keeps this project going, and it keeps me able to go to different places like the Boating Museum and travel around. So let's get to the Finger Lakes Boating Museum and let's check out their collection, which is awesome. Early in 2013, the Finger Lakes Boating Museum had everything typically seen at a museum, except a building. It is amazing to me that what I experienced when I visited this week all happened in such a short time. Housed in part of what used to be the Taylor Wine Company of Hammondsport, New York. Hammondsport is on Keuka Lake, which is one of New York's Finger Lakes. The collection is limited to boats made by companies and builders based in the Finger Lakes region. Luckily, there were many of these builders working in the area during the 20th century. The collection consists of hundreds of boats, including canoes, rowboats, powerboats, and sailboats, most of them built out of wood. Staffed mainly by a group of enthusiastic volunteers, if you are a fan of wooden boats, beautiful landscapes, and even wine, you have to make your way to Hammondsport, New York. Oh, this one's interesting. What's this?
Fay and Bowen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 1910, Geneva built.
Very nice.
The Johnson Motor Company came to Charlie Herman, the owner of Pennyanboats, in 26 or 7 about, saying that he wanted to contract with them for 3,000 of these hulls. And the plan was for Johnson would sell more motors if they were on platform. And then when the stock market crashed, Johnson went broke. Penn Yan was broke, but Penn Yan had, we think, about 300 hulls already built, and they were stuck with them. So this is the earliest iteration with that set-in motor. The next iteration of the boat came in about 1930, and that was an actual outdrive, a cast bronze outdrive, like an IO. And we have that one in storage. And then the latest version was about 33, where they had the inboard engine turned around, shaft forward underneath the back seat to a beam drive, and then through the hull.
How long ago was this boat?
Boats.
How long ago was this actually in the water?
I don't know about this boat.
Did you guys restore it?
No.
This is the way you got it.
Yeah. It was restored locally though. Doug Nichols' shop up in up in Branchwood did the restoration.
Little double cockpit.
This is a Charles Ernst that we just got this fall, and we're still trying to get the motor and the hardware for it. Charles Ernst was a builder in Keuka Park.
Boy, that thing looks huge
actually,
for that boat.
isn't that
But it's the right one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because there's one up there too.
Yeah, just monsters. And if you look, if you can look at the buttons, the fasteners are rivets.
Oh yeah, they've got robes on them.
Yeah, that was characteristic of Ernst. He built his trout boats that way. That's a Morehouse, 22-foot triple cockpit Morehouse, the only one they made. They made some 18-footers and 20-footers utilities, but this is the only 22. It was a consignment boat. The guy came in and said, "I want you to make me a 22-foot triple." The resaw that came out of the Penn Yan factory.
Holy cow!
We've run that. I have run that.
You've actually run.
Dan Sullivan had it up in his shop. Dan and the museum went halves on it. And then when Danny shut down, we bought him off and saved it.
The patina on these Penn Yan Swifts is the reason I try to save and reuse old wood. When I mention the look I am striving for on my Chris Craft project, this is it right here. So a 1.1 horsepower and a 14 foot, how much different is that than rowing?
You can do it. You can do it longer. And this is really a gem. This is the mold from the Skinny Atmos Boat Company from the original Lightnings.
Holy cow.
Lightning class sailboat is originated in Skinny Atmos.
So there's a Lightning there, right?
Yep. And the prototype was 38. They went into production in 39, and this boat was built in Skinny Atmos in 1939 on this mold.
These pictures are awesome.
Di Johnson put this display together. That's Di, and this is Di in every picture.
Oh, this is him?
This is him in every picture.
Wow. That's amazing. He doesn't like boats too much, does he?
No, not too much. But then they need, he's got a picture of himself with each motor. Examples of locally built rowboats. This is a 1905 Sutherland double ender. 14 foot. We also have a 16-foot boat equal to it.
That picture is so awesome right there. Branchport.
And some of your people will know Dan. He did a lot of teaching at Clayton at ABM.
Yep, I've heard of Dan, that name before.
Yep.
I don't know if I've ever met Dan.
The two boats that are being built across the road. Did you see those in the Schronbachs across the road? Those
Yeah,
two
the
boats?
trout boats, is that what they're
Yeah,
called?
the trout boats. This is what we're building. That boat.
This would be called your pattern boat here, huh?
You know, it came complete with a fiberglass skin on it.
Oh, that's nice.
That's all there was
It holds it
left.
all together. That's what fiberglass is good for. Holding the wooden boat together until you rebuild it.
The Marine Architect exhibit.
Yeah, 1950s style marine architecture.
This just goes on forever.
They've got some nice projects in here.
So, one of our guys is in the process of building a canoe on that float. But this boat is a really nice boat. We just covered it up to protect from all the paintings going on. It's just an old launch. That's a Wonder engine from Syracuse, 1905,
Wow.
and it runs.
Is it gasoline?
Yep.
A lot of them would have been naphtha then, wouldn't they?
Yeah, this is gas.
This is a gorgeous
At least it
boat.
runs on gas.
Yeah, we did a lot of restoration.
This has been glass. This boat's made fiberglass.
Yeah, this is on the
what
back
we-
half. You can
That's the
tell.
way we got it.
Cedar and mahogany.
Yeah. In oak.
Yep, up there. Oh, that motor is so neat. The tags are so cool. Why don't we make good tags like that anymore? Is that a Steve Shea?
That's a Pet 2. That's a
No, is that built by Steve Shea? It looks like one of his models.
He's from Canada.
Yeah,
Yes, that's him.
yeah.
He gave us 2 of them.
There was so much more to see, but I had to head back to the Thousand Islands. I left the museum and drove down to the lake. I was thinking about the kind of people who take on a project, like creating a museum, as well as all of the little projects inside of it. The kind of people that make the world worth living in. The kind of people who love wooden boats.